I graduated university when I was just 20 years old. That's 2 to 3 years earlier than the average in the United States for a 4-year university. And at 20 years old, I was still pretty much just a kid. I got my bachelor's in business management because I loved getting to work with people, getting to work in teams, as well as learning and developing in business. Now, the issue, I sort of have a problem with leadership and authority, which, trust me, is not a winning combination when you want to be in leadership and management. However, I actually think that's what makes me such an effective leader. So here are 3 uncomfortable truths about leadership and why I dislike it. Keeping everything simple, let's jump right in. So what do I mean by authority in a title is limited? Well, first we have to describe 2 types of power. Power being the authority or dynamics within an organization or a team. We have positional power, which is the power given to an individual due to their rank or their title. Pretty simple, right? President, team lead, COO, shift lead, it's the title. And that comes with legitimate power. This is the power to take formal action and steps within the organization or within the team. And these 2 are usually paired together. You have a position of power, then you have the ability to take actions. But why does any of that matter? Well, I think it's pretty simple actually. If you have to use your position and your formal power constantly to create any type of action within your team, then you are likely acting as a poor leader, a poor boss, and a poor partner. Now, see, I personally have never liked the idea of actually being told what to do, at least not without reason. But if I see that a leader has to constantly use their position and their authority to enforce action, I tend to like it even less, because that shows to me that your team both, 1, doesn't trust you and doesn't listen to you. 2 key components to having a good, cohesive team. Now, I mentioned trust just a second ago, and when I say trust must be earned, I don't mean you go into a new job and you immediately distrust everybody or you distrust all of leadership and management. That's not what I mean. My hope is that if someone is in a leadership position, that they have gotten there for good reason, both their skills and the relationships they've built within the team. That's my hope. And now we know that in any relationship that we have, both in work and in life, you're never gonna trust somebody 100% the moment you meet them. I think that's kind of impractical. And leadership is distinctly no different because it is a relationship between the leader and the team member. They have to foster it and work on it. It's much like Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you're familiar with the show and the character, you'll know that her parents didn't exactly see her for who she was. Get it? See her? I'll let myself out. Continuing the example, they didn't see their daughter for who she was. They didn't trust her abilities and her strengths because of her blindness. No team member wants to be micromanaged and believe that their team leader doesn't trust them, and vice versa, no team leader, I believe, should want to micromanage their team, creating no trust in them. A lack of trust and a good working relationship is only gonna breed disconnect and further problems down the line as well. But also, comment below real quick if you have a TV character that helped you learn a lesson in your life or in your career. Let me know down below, because I'm hoping I'm not the only one here. Leadership is a relationship that can determine so much more than just your next raise. Any leader who fails to empathize, connect, and truly understand their team is gonna have a much harder time motivating them as well as retaining their best workers. You can check out my video on empathy and leadership and why it's needed for a bit more on that. If you've had a bad boss who was as engaging as a brick wall or was potentially so negative that you didn't want to interact or have a conversation with them, that paints leadership in a poor light, and it just creates, again, that disconnect. And this is in stark contrast to a good leader who takes time to have a good conversation with you, takes a vested interest in your growth and your progress, as well as a genuine curiosity about who you are as an individual and what you want to do in life. The approach will vary from field to field and industry to industry, but I think the foundation of it is still the same. Leadership is built on relationships. And all relationships take work. If a leader only sees a team member as some sort of cog in the machine and that they're always going to be replaceable, then from the get-go, they've set themselves up for failure because they can't connect with their team. And that's why it takes work and intentional effort from everyone involved to really make the most of it. With those uncomfortable truths, Here's the tips that you can use to be a better leader and rise above them. Don't abuse your title and don't rely on it solely to create action. Aim for referent power. This is the type of power and authority that's built on trust, as well as your ability as a leader to influence and inspire your team to take action. You gotta give trust to earn trust. Sometimes you have to give before you can receive, and as a leader, it really is no different. It may take some time, it may take some trial and error, but you have to build mutual trust between you and your team members. And the best way to do that, foster a positive working relationship. And this doesn't mean you go out and try to be everybody's best friend, but it does mean getting a bit more personal, getting a bit more authentic and genuine, and trying to connect with your team and seeing them for who they are, as well as where they want to go. Now, as a management student, it may be odd that I dislike leadership at times, but I love the chance to be a leader. Continuing with the Last Airbender reference, it's like how Toph grew up to be chief of police in Republic City. While I may not like authority, that just means I'm choosing to become the authority, to be the type of leader that I wish I had then, and to help someone else. Don't forget to check out my video on empathy in leadership. Subscribe and like the video if you haven't already. Keep everything simple. Have a great day. I will see you guys in another video.